All right, let's begin. I invite you to allow your breath the power to dissolve distractions. So, as you just increase the focus, the active breathing dissolves what we don't need. And tune with feeling your breath. Just the area around your chest and heart. Breathe in a way that accentuates this area. And I'm going to begin a shift in breathing. I want you to be aware of your root, your solar plexus, and your chin. Vaguely, your root between your sit bones. Recognize the space that links you to the earth, drawing energy up through the ground. Inhale and tip your belly forward. Exhale, tuck your tail under, drawing your belly in. Inhale, open. Exhale, tighten, grip. This is the root lock. Raise your attention to your solar plexus. As you exhale, draw your solar plexus up into your heart. Inhale, let it sink down a little. Exhale, draw it up, moving as if your stomach is squeezing beneath your heart and lungs, lifting and drawing energy up from the root. Now, breathe as you lift your chin, opening your throat, exposing your throat to the world. Sense the vulnerability of these. There's a reason our throats are so vulnerable. This is one of the fastest ways to hurt someone. Feel these. They're more complex than a lock. They draw energy up from below and pump it. So we're literally using the strength of our inner spirit and resolve to draw energy from the earth, from the material plane of the earth, up and in towards the center of our mind. Our third eye is the center of our mind because we organize things here. This is where we get a vision of how the pieces of ourselves fit together. We want a strong connection from the root up to the third eye. It's healthy. Feel these. Imagine strong, clear energy running straight from your root through the solar plexus, through the chin and throat, into your third eye. And then here you fountain. And imagine light emerging from the center of your skull, and it's going straight up out through the crown, but it's also going out. So your head, everything here is a flower. It's fed by the energy from below. And this flower flowers with light into the world. Yes, this is a halo. Yes, this activates divine light. Yes, this is the same as saint and state. As you feel this activation, realize what we are capable of has been built by those who have come before us. The entire his story of humanity has created possibilities in the spiritual realms. When you don't believe in these possibilities, you effectively wall yourself off from their existence. And the simple thought, that's not me, is a wall. I am prophetically inspired. I am a saint and sage. I am the spirit of the earth that flows up from my root, through my solar plexus, through my chin to the center of my third eye, spiraling out, inspiring the vibrancy of a flower. And as I accept and embrace this intensity, I transcend who I knew myself to be. I go beyond the laws of attraction and whatnot and become something that is fed by pure spirit from the earth. And this is a commitment. This is an addiction. This is a dependency. And I embrace it fully. I embrace this dependency, knowing that the earth will veto many of my desires. The earth will let me know when I have lost attunement with her spirit, when I have lost attunement with the vibrancy of the blood, the spiritual blood that she feeds me through my roots. And I invite you to feel this spiritual blood rising up through you into your roots, straight up and out your crown, and recognizing that it is the power of your own intention that can pump this strength up. This doesn't just happen to you. Yes, awakenings, Kundalini releases that open the channels that allow this flow will spontaneously activate these locks and encourage it to happen once or twice. But then it's you who makes this work. It's you who activates the strength to pump, to pull, to draw this strength up. And you imagine drawing the root lock tighter. And you imagine pumping the energy up in the solar plexus, lifting it and feeling it enter your heart. And you imagine rising fuller, exposing your vulnerability. This is raw. To do this, even in the presence of no other human nearby, feels vulnerable. Recognize what it feels like to lift your head, draw your chin out, and feel the energy rising still further into your third eye. Oh, and it slices like a knife. Surrender to this knife. It's Michael's sword cutting through your imagination, destroying false narratives, weak narratives, sick narratives, old narratives. They exist. The stories we tell ourselves and each other exist, and we slice through them by allowing spirit to do that to us, like Michael's sword severing that which has come before, only to transform into a beam of light that transforms into veins of the earth that transforms into the stem of a flower within us. You are wild, you are wonderful, you are present. And I invite this to be a shared intention that we begin this year together in this wildness, in this surrender to a recognition that some of our dreams may not fit. Some of our overt desires may not be sustained. They may be severed by this beam of light. To surrender ourself and our intentions and our power and our hope and our dreams and our desires to this force is to bow our heads a little. And then when we lift them again, we lift them in this humility that we're rooted, we're addicted, we're in need of her. We're in need of this spirit. And once you commit to it, you'd actually get a little less control. You might not be able to move wherever you want, whereas before you could. You might not be able to go out as often as you wanted to because it doesn't feel good anymore. You choose to tune in to a lifestyle that's so vibrant that it hurts when you make the wrong choices. Sometimes it feels preferable to be numb. And I invite you to commit to this course anyway. And as you do, let me reintroduce you to a simple prayer. Inhale into your heart. Exhale, let it go. Keep doing it. Allow the depth to drive you. Feel the fear that comes to the surface when you will let your lungs be this strong. Notice it. It's a tension that squeezes in on you, and you breathe through it, and it's frightening to give your lungs this power. And next, in the next inhale, feel the lungs on their own, of their own accord, expanding, and lift your arms and reach. And when the lungs start to say no, exhale. This is simple. Let your body be a function of your breath. So the rhythm of your breath is driving motion. There's a reason this is such a good way to begin a practice. It's sacred. You're tuning into spirit, and spirit drives the breathing, and breathing drives the body. Oof. This is out of control. It's terrifying. Should be terrifying. If you don't notice that it's terrifying, be open to the possibility that it will be terrifying if you keep doing it. And do it anyway. The reason we practice is so that we will be ready when life gives us something more intense. The reason that we practice is so the wildness has space to say hello. It is the last act of a controlling mind to commit to practice regularly. And you bow your head and you say, I will practice healthy patterns so that I will be open when the wildness calls me. And I'll be ready. I will have practiced being in tune. I will practice reconnecting to the earth, drawing energy up, retuning with this energy, allowing it to rise, drawing it with my strength, both my intention, my spiritual awareness, and my body. Draw this energy up. Oh, yes, it works when you squeeze your root with the muscles of the perineum. Right between number 1 and number 2, you squeeze it, and you're using strength to say more. There's a reason she makes you use it. You have to show that you want it. Believe it or not, the earth is very gracious about how this works. She knows for full well that this body is her loan to us. She knows how daunting it is for us to awaken to the realization that this is not who we are. It's fucking terrifying. Our belief in our independence is shattered like that. We're trapped in a body that isn't our own. What are we? We can't escape it. People spend years obsessed with lucid dreams and hallucinogens to get away from this trap, not realizing that it's the greatest gift. It's the greatest gift. It's a gift because all gifts are temporary. So accept it as a gift and be with it for what it is. This is our ability to interact with the world. We are given these cells to have more control over. So instead of exerting that control by looking outside yourself, and trying to take more land or buy more stuff or order your garden rows more geometrically. Be with this. For this year, I invite you to be with your body on another level of health and be present with the fact that the biggest boundary is not how hard it is to do this work. It's not hard to do this work. It's beautiful to do this work. It is fun. It is fulfilling. It is ecstatic. I sit in ecstatic reverie and meditation often. I sit and feel blissful energy just moving through my body like every day. Every day. It's fun. It's not work to feel this good. It's work to say no to the parts of ourselves that are afraid. In order to feel this good, you can't just fight down. You can't just beat the negative voices. Oh, no, that would be too simple. That is not more than a pause. You are invited to sit with the negative voices, to sit with them and never surrender to the complete heresy that they are your equal. A shadow is not your equal. A shadow is simply that part of the earth, that space on the ground where light doesn't get because you're in the way. Your shadow is not complex. It's flat, doesn't have depth, doesn't have nuance. You can't see eyes and ears. You can't see color. It's just one splotch. The negative voices within your mind and heart are not as powerful as you are. In fact, they don't have any power at all until you give it to them. And to be aware of this, you have to be aware. You have to be aware that it is you that gives the negative voices in your mind and heart power. It is you that allowed negativity into your heart in a way that gets sick. And far from blaming yourself, see this as a victory in and of itself. Because the moment you realize that you're the one that empowers the negativity, you get to start learning how to stop. In that very moment, you go, oh, I get it. Yeah, this voice is here. It's here, but it's just a shadow. If you have to deal with it, you have to deal with it. It's a shadow because there's something in you that's blocking the light. If there's something in you that's blocking the light, what is it? I promise you, the strongest, the only element of these negative voices that has strength, true power, is sick. Every vision you've had of yourself at the most awful, the most vicious, the most violent, the most hateful, the most resentful, the most vampirish. Every single vision you have of these things has no power that you don't give it. All its power comes from you. The only independent presence it has, be with this, the only independent presence it has is the wounded parts of yourself that have not healed yet. So ultimately, the worst, most awful villains from the most terrifying stories you've ever seen are sick more than they're evil. That part of life that we see as evil, let us dissolve. Now, I see the center of a shared space, a center that is a fire that is hotter than all of us. You know how to put your hands in the fire without getting burnt? This fire is hotter. You know how to put your feet on the coals without getting burnt? This fire is hotter. For every level of heat you know how to be present with, for every level of burning, you know how to unite with, there's something hotter. Give that boundary to the center of the earth. And in humility, we gather closer to this fire. And I invite you to imagine that we are now together, sitting around the intensity of this inner fire at the center of the earth. And we bow our heads and we say, what shall we give back? And when you bow your head, you slow the flow from above and you say, I'm now giving down. And I invite you to breathe. And breathe inside your heart. What griefs have you not fully grieved? What resentments do you feel to people from your past that you have not fully released? This summer, I saw several friends from my childhood. I grew up with them. And when we separated to go to school, to university, we separated sadly, in pain. I felt forgotten. And I never let myself realize that's what I was feeling. I buried it. And this summer, I saw several of them for the first time in a long time. And it surged to the surface. I remember this because I didn't hold it. I didn't let myself feel it. I buried it. I pushed it down, but there was nowhere for it to go because I didn't move through these feelings. And I let myself feel them. I let myself feel like a boy who was hurt and alone. And now I give this back. I say enough. I forgive them. I let this go because this is pain in my own body. Any resentment I hold towards anyone in my past is pain inside myself. And I give this back. I give it down and I bow my head and my chin reaches towards my lungs and it locks the energy and it slows the flow from below. And I shed some petals from the past that have been hanging on, rotten. I feel the flower of myself with some rotten petals, and I let them drop. I return them down towards the fire. And I feel the earth rise to catch them and say, this wasn't so horrible. I can use that. I sense a woman from my past who I felt misused me. I sense the resentment that I never fully let myself feel, and I make a prayer to return this to the earth, return whatever purity was present, surrender this skin from the past. May this be something healthy. May this be recreated, transformed. May the molecules of this spiritual presence be torn apart and returned and recreated into new life. What do you have to surrender? What resentments have been present in your body, in your mind, in your heart? Presence them in your awareness and return them. Breathe with them and feel them going down. And it's good. And it is good shit. When we give back the feelings that no longer need to live, they can become soil for new life. Fresh shit will burn new plants. But if you give it the space to compost, it will transform into rich soil. It's just a process of waiting and the assurance that you get it to a place where it could wait. When you give to the earth with consciousness and without resentment, with gratitude for what she does, it's like learning to put your shit in the right hole rather than dumping it or throwing it at each other. And then we lift our heads. And I want you to claim these because we're going to do this often. The root, the solar plexus, and the chin becomes the root, the heart, and the chin. This is a powerful cord of energy. It draws energy all the way up through the linear line. These three spots allow you to draw energy up from below, and you can feel yourself pumping strength from below, feeding up into the flower that is your mind. And feel this color. Feel this. Feel resonance around your whole head. And imagine it expanding. This is the same power that becomes a halo. We're just talking about activating our energies so thoroughly that other people can see them. They're here. They're here. You feel it. You feel it. I know you feel it. You feel it. Breathe with it. Don't spend time wondering whether it's real. Breathe. Breathe and feel. Sense light emerging from the center of your head. And it's coming out right here, about this far. And if you can't feel it yet, breathe and see it in your mind's eye. Fake it till you make it. You're tuning in to participate, but this process works whether you believe in it or not. This is a flower. This is a divine flower of light emerging from the top of you. This is the flower on the top of the plant, the stem that is connected to the earth, that is rooted in the ground. And it only works when you surrender your autonomy to believe that you are a part of this earth. In the games you used to lose, leave. Leave those games. You don't want them. They hurt you. You don't want to beat the people that beat you at games like that. You want to play games with people who love you. You want to dance. You want games that are dances and songs where everyone cares about each other. Let that be an intention. You get it. And welcome here. Welcome here. This is a space we create. We share it. I'm not in the center. The earth is in the center. I'm liberated by my joy to do what I do. But make no mistake, this is a force of nature, and we're all a part of creating and intending it. And when we accept in humility what it is, we lose some level of control over our intentions. So I invite you to tune into your solar plexus. And this is a space where you are going to plant 3 seeds. 3 seeds. I want you to choose 3 intentions for this year. And you plant them here. And when you plant them, you tend them. And when you tend them, you trust that they will be different than perhaps you intended. Be loose. If you go a week or 2 without living up to some mathematical part of your intention, chill. Chill. Let part of your intention be to respect that this is a wild conversation between you and the earth. Let this be something we share. We share this wildness at the heart, at the beginning and end of our intentions. And wildness is to be in tune. Wildness is to be free from the power of the false beliefs that we used to live in and controlled by nature, willfully, willingly controlled by the link we have to the earth, with respect that when she feeds us this much strength, she has more of a say in how we're going to live. She's going to say no to some of the things you've wanted. If you have not recognized the ways in which she's been telling you no, I invite you to be open to hearing and seeing through your feeling. She will show you what doesn't feel good. Respect it. When you lose your ability to be aware that you're linked to the earth, respect it. That is what wildness is. I'm going to take break. We'll do some readings. I do appreciate your donations through super gifts. I do appreciate your presence and belief much more. Thank you for being here. I'll see you soon. This week, I'm going to focus a little bit extra on intentions. So it's not going to be just a general reading. It'll be more about how can we be supportive of you, tuning in to what your intentions have been and what they can be. Now, please be present. The first rule, standard, something more than that, really. The first elemental magic to understand here is what happened today. My thought was that I was going to do a class today explaining how services work. So I did half an hour and then it cut out. And when it cut out, I got, do it now. When I committed to doing it now, the new one worked. So I wasn't quite ready, but it flowed. And it flowed because I allowed myself to be changed. This is how intentions work. When you hold the intention to surrender to this dynamic, living dialogue with the earth, she'll change what you believe. She'll change what you desire. but it doesn't work unless you give her that permission. That is what we'll be working with today. Readings. So I see Ryan's first, and oh no, Alora first. Thank you so much, Kinsey, for the pluses. Let's see. I think there's something else I need to say beforehand. Oh, there are courses and sessions available through the website. You can sign up for both on the website, pay for them, schedule them, everything. Please consider these. This is how I survive. This is my job. And I love being able to be less pressure on who we are, what we do together today on YouTube. And I could just be open to do my best, offer my best, let it flow. If you're inspired, if you have the resources, you know how to work with money in a way that works, a great way to go deeper is to do these courses and to do a session. If you ever feel so overwhelmed that it's, you really need direct support, I'm here. You can schedule it. You'll know when it is. I'll help you, and I'll do my best to give you as much as I can during our time together so you can carry it, work with it. All right. Alora. Huh. Never had this before. Don't eat bacon. It's important. It was first, but it's sort of a side note. Now I'm looking into your intentions. There's there's an open space. It looks like you've had a bandage on your solar plexus, but it's starting to heal. And it's like, I get the sense that like, you don't want to change it yet because you're afraid it'll hurt. But I swear, like underneath looks pretty beautiful. Whoa. Wow. It looks really beautiful underneath, like color, like healthy. Like this wound has really been doing a lot of healing. You don't need to rip it off. It's going to just sort of fall away. I'm going to invite you immediately. I sense the health in you paying more attention to herbs. You can do that through tea. I think there's a lot of medicine that would work really well for you in some natural teas. So accessible plants that grow near you. I'm going to invite you to realize that I see that this intention is very in tune with you, and you can plant it and just begin to explore it. And I encourage you to think of doing this for the year. Your throat is locked still. Your expression is haphazard. You're used to closing it. And I invite you to practice this on your own. When you're safe, when no one's around, to emphasize in your practice just this action. When you lift it up, and as you do that, I think it's going to be clear what you need to work on letting flow through you in terms of expression. Right now, it looks like it's been kind of like stuck, and like a fight. And I invite you to explore tuning in to what expression you really need, because this is holding you back. And own that you're the one who can work on this. So try to recognize, now I'm seeing down into your navel. There's still a level of blame in you. And I mean this with respect and love. We in our lives, many people, live through victimizations that are truly brutal, abusive, just not okay. They're violations. I'm not here to tell you it's your fault. There's a difference between saying something's your fault and saying, come on, let's get up. let's move into a new way. I don't believe in being a survivor. If you think like that, you can stay trapped next to your trauma for the rest of your life. In what ways are you still blaming other people? When you blame, you hold the pain inside your body, and it's in your navel. It's in your navel. So I invite you to commit to recognizing this pattern. This is not the same as exposing yourself to being hurt. I'm not suggesting you just let people treat you poorly. I'm saying don't get wrapped up in it and don't carry it inside your body, resenting them, thinking about it. That comes from a paranoid space that thinks it's protective to resent people, but resenting people hurts you. You go cold. You say, what do I need to do to disengage from this trauma? And you've already done so much of the hard work. You've already done so much of the hard work. Allow your mind, your third eye, and your navel to rewrite how you think about it. Breath of fire. I told you this a couple of weeks ago, but core, that core yoga routine, it's really good for everybody. I really encourage you to do it extra much, Laura. It's half an hour. It's 27 minutes. Build your core, fire in your core, burn through those blame patterns and own yourself that way. I'll leave you with these. The forces that hurt you most were forces more than people. And the people who carried those forces and hurt you are not in your life now. The worst people, the worst is not there. You have a lot to appreciate about all the work you've done. And I see it in your heart. For those of you who don't know, Alora has done an incredible job of redoing the website and setting this whole process up to work so much more effectively. She helps me when I don't know what to do. I send her a message. I'm like, I don't know how to handle this, and she helps me. I'm really happy to offer this inspiration, and I hope it's good medicine for you now. Thank you. All right. I see Angie next. So you've got a different kind of, wow. It scares me. I'm like going into this vibrancy. I just have to let you know, like, it scares me to be so forthright with people. Bless your living souls. I think you trust that I'm doing the best I know how to do. The first words that come through are, you've got a victimization thing going on, Edgy. Like, you need to come to terms with the fact that you've been thinking in terms of like, why did this happen to me? And I have to do this to be safe. You got to own it more than that. Please understand the depth of our memory starts with yourself. We see the past through ourselves. We see our ability to perceive other people first comes through the space that is our own. The aura around us is ours. So our memories are false. Our memories are stories that we tell ourselves. The way we see people is false. You're not seeing the past accurately. The people that you have said no to are not as strong as you think. Some of the strength you remember people with is yours, and you lost it, and that's why it felt victimy. You lost that strength in how you saw them, and that you can reclaim. We can change the past by taking that back, being like, oh. If you look at your third eye, there's it's like an eye patch. It's like you closed part of your third eye because you were just sick of seeing certain shit. And I think it was sane. I think you sort of recognized this pattern and you're like, damn it, no, I'm just gonna stop. It's kind of cool, to be honest. I think it was a very functional response to the challenges you were under. But I think it's maladaptive. Like, it's time to take it to the next level now. And part of you, I think, it gets thrown back into an old sense of vulnerability and self, and even victimy stuff. You'll get over it. Move through it. Pull this patch off. It's not even a bandage, it's a patch. You were stopping yourself. Underneath, it's going to be chaotic. You know, I would encourage you, don't smoke pot too much, once a week. Don't do much more than that unless you really feel it's medicinal, and pay attention. It's not tragic. Pot's great because if you do it at the wrong time, it's not tragic. It's just bleh. But you pay attention to when it works and when it doesn't. When in doubt, just don't do it. But it could feel medicinal to an extent, but I don't think you need it that much. Only when it really works. Because you need to move through this. You need to realize that I think you're so much stronger than who you used to be that you can revisit old feelings without being overwhelmed, without drowning in them. And you need that trust more than anything. That's in your navel, and your navel is boom. It's strong, but there's something sapping you here in your navel. It looks like the remnants of a cord to something that, oof. All right, look, I'm just going with this because it's flowing, but it looks like basically a connection that transcends this lifetime, like patterns that are done. If you cut a tree, the roots will eventually rot. Some roots will grow a new tree. It's very definitive. Different trees work this way. This was a tree that could have grown a new root, but you've been severing the growth as it gets to the surface for so long that it's rotting. You don't need to do much, but you do need to trust that I think you're out of the fear, Angie. I think you're out of the danger zone. This root has already started to rot. You feel its presence in you, but it's not going to grow into something new. You're not going to do that again. You're not going to do it again. You're not going to do it. You need to trust that about yourself. You also, you need the core work. It's next level. Build that strength. Fire through these. Fire through these. It's already rotten, but burn it through. So it's like you're helping it to compost. So you get this power for yourself. And then intentions. Well, you got the core of it. Fine. I think you just need to flesh it out. There seems to me that there's so much strength here in your intention space that you're nervous to tighten it. Looks to me like you're nervous to be more articulate, and I think you need to be. I would invite you to be more specific about daily and weekly rhythms, habits that you want to establish. Take it step by step. Don't overdo it and then crash. But start being more specific. Like, do a little work. Push yourself a little more. Like, come on, institute some healthy habits. And get this, everybody hear this, but for you in particular, 3 weeks. It takes between 2 and 3 weeks to get a new habit going. Start it in the morning, preferably in the first 4 hours of your day. It's okay if you don't get up immediately and do yoga, but in the first 4 hours, if you can, first 8 hours, if at all possible. And see what you can do. And once you've gotten one good new habit going, work on another, but give it 2 or 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks to get a new habit going. And then it starts to have its own momentum. Work with that. All right. I'm not going to tell you what to put there. You know what you need. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate it. Minty. I love it. Minty. Well, I'll tell you, first thing I get is actually a part of you that doesn't necessarily, you're a little bit, you're going, well, I'll try and see how it works. But part of you is skeptical of me in a way that I think limits how much I can do. And that's fine. No offense taken. It looks to me like, and I mean this with real respect, it might sound a little vague, but you're worrying as a pattern in a way that's kind of using up your strength. So my invitation would be, And this is very simple and very powerful. And it absolutely applies to everyone, but this is prominent. This goes right, I see it right away. The commitment is to notice when you worry. Name it. Worry. Anxiety comes from worry. So notice the pattern of worry, which means your mind is focusing on a negative possibility or a negative understanding of something that has happened. Turn it into a prayer. This is a discipline. It takes work. You're re-steering negative patterns inside yourself. So you're going to identify that you're worrying, which means your mind is having a negative interpretation of something that has happened or a negative interpretation of something that might happen. And then you're taking that and you're turning it into a relevant one-sentence prayer. That's it. So an example would be, I drank 3 drinks on New Year's. I went home and I worried that I would have a headache. So I prayed that I didn't have a headache and realized the obvious, go drink some water. So I drank a lot of water. Then when I woke up in the night, I drank some more water. I was fine. So first I prayed. That prayer happened to show me what to do. Another example would be, I worried that my son went out of our sight the other day. He's almost 6, but we're still, he ran ahead so far we didn't know where he was. I worried about where he was. I stopped. I prayed for his judgment that we've taught him well how to recognize the obvious dangers. I prayed for him in that. And then I got the hit, like, step outside, look around, walk down the street, and I eventually found him. The first thing I did was feel the worry and turn it into a positive prayer. All right. For you, you need that. And I promise you, it works for the rest of your life. I definitely encourage you to prioritize it for this year. And I hugely encourage you to give it at least 2 or 3 weeks, even if it's not comfortable, before it becomes a little bit more, have its own momentum. That's good. That's a lot to work with. Hey, Jean Priya, thanks for being here. All right. Okay. Christina next. And I think I saw Ryan way back there. Did you? I don't know if you got him or he's just waiting in the list. Christina. Okay. I think that you should have tea time. Don't know why, but like, I think it would be healthy for you to put a break in your mid-afternoon, 3, 4 o'clock. Just put a break in there. Maybe have some tea, maybe even some toasted marmalade. I think the message is chill out and enjoy life a little more. And if that's the first thing I get, okay. Second, it's a good time to pray for intimacy. Friendship is part of these. So there is no healthy way to pray for a partner that doesn't include praying for healthy intimacy with several other people as well. In fact, I encourage you to pray for healthy intimacy with people and be aware that a healthy partnership springs out of a healthy way of connecting with multiple people in your lives. A healthy partnership springs out of having 3 or 4 or 5 people who you can call when you're overwhelmed to take the pressure off your partnership, to support it. This is a pure, strong time to pray for this. This is a pure, strong time. It's good. I think maybe you're worried that you'll be worried, but the energy looks clean and strong. You can move through it. That's an old pattern. It's an old pattern. And then it's love. And it turns into love pretty good. It turns into love pretty good. I just encourage you to pray for the intimacy. Pray to keep your head on your shoulders and like pay attention, because you're vibrant. you're going to attract several opportunities if you're not already doing so. And I encourage you to, like, just because something feels strong doesn't mean, like, keep your wits about you. Ask questions about, why is this strong? My experience is that when life is really ready to take you to the next level, show you a long-term partner, life will show you 5 people who are attractive. And underneath the surface, there are strong, clear reasons you're attracted to each of them. And you need to see it. You need to go, oh, yeah, she's like my ex. Oh, yeah, she's like my mother. Oh, yeah, she represents this. Oh, yeah, she helps do this for me. But really, what do you want? Really, you want to be able to feel all those other things and transcend them. Feel all those other things, realize what they are, and then breathe into, like, what is the deep trust? What is the person who can learn with you? I'm getting the I hope it's right that this person's true for everyone, but it's super strong for you. Your nose tip is here to help you. Your nose tip balances your intimacy by letting you know, like, the way to know that you don't drown in falling for someone is to make sure you keep taking care of yourself. Make sure you're like, look, I need an hour today to do my yoga. Don't sacrifice that. Really, I need an hour to walk by myself. Because when you're in the midst of the intensity of falling deeper for someone, the ability to take a little space for yourself, tend your basic needs, puts you in a grounded, centered place where that flying in love feeling doesn't get out of whack. You don't drown so much that you lose touch with reality. In fact, you have more strength to share in a healthy way. So that ability to dance depends on you being able to create a little distance, even though it feels so damn strong and good. Make a commitment now to prioritize these patterns. Your practice, I can't say enough, it's a spiritual practice that roots this. When you commit to 3 or 4 practices a week, and a little bit in the mornings and maybe a little bit at night, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. When you commit to that, when you start skipping it, you get to go, why am I skipping this? and retrenching makes everything work better. Enough. Jess Stardust next. Wow. You've been Mayan. And you see that in me. So have I. You know yourself. You have a natural ability to go deeper than other people in a way that's, like, it's not dramatic, and it's a real important power. It's in your mind. Your mind has a power to draw strength from the earth that's really extra good. And if anything, like, you have to be at peace with that before it settles down. I think it's deceptive. You probably sort of, like, surprise people with how you affect them because you seem so normal, but then all of a sudden it's like whoosh, you're just shining. But it's not, you're not screaming at them, but energetically it is. So you need to actually, like, learn to recognize this is happening, and rather than second guessing it or getting caught in, like, a who am I, what is my ego, da 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 da, just, like, feel it. Feel it. It's like your energy is getting out of hand when nothing is happening on the surface. So you have to be the one that catches it. Life's not going to have to put you in check because you're not being hyper, but just brilliant. Like, you've got a really strong, clear vision. There's some damage. You've had some difficulty communicating your truth. It's sort of, and then it becomes like, all right, intentions. Yeah, you got a worry thing. It's strong, but it's not deep. So it's like you get overwhelmed by it, but I'm not worried about your worry. Like, it's not as problematic as you might think it is. What's that? So you've had a degree of power from staying hidden, and you feel safe in it. And it's like, it's time to let that go. It's like the Lord of the Rings, like, return the ring to the fire. Like, you know how to be invisible, and you've kind of appreciated that power, but it keeps you separated. So it's like you're not uniting yourself because you're staying in this kind of, like, safe space that ultimately It's a maladaptive pattern. So I encourage you to realize that your intentions can't fully work until you agree to be more transparent, to like let go of your safe hidden invisibility power. It's a big deal. And I let that take a while. It's a big change. And then into your heart, like center in your heart when you get overwhelmed. All right. Like really just come back to your heart because like you've got a lot activated. Breathe in your heart. There's a heart mind coherence meditation. It's linked on the website on the heart chakra page. You need to rest in your heart more than ever. MKZ. MKZ. You have an easygoing trust. But if anything, it looks to me like you've had intentions that are too explicitly spiritual just because it's kind of cool. Not like spiritual in a classic sense, but like lucid dreaming and out of body experiences. I wouldn't be surprised if that's been a real theme for you. It's not unhealthy, like you're good at it, but my question would be like, why? Like, what's your purpose? Because really, when your soul looks at the possibilities, it's like what it's like to go out of body, right? But your soul doesn't have a body. And at that point, you're like, wow, it would be really cool to have a body. And at that point, you made a decision as a soul to incarnate in a body. So be the fuck here. Be here. I I invite you to be here. It's really cool to be in a body. Dramatically enhances your intentions, your capacities. All right, there you go. You do have that intention. It's just buried deeply. You get distracted. So center on this. Get a stronger practice going. You got some practices. They're special. You like your unique versions. That's fine, but take it to the next level. What does that look like for you? I'm not going to give you much advice on it because you're prickly. You like making your own choices. Don't mess with my process. Just take it to the next level. Whatever you are, take it to the next level. Look, being too disciplined is you, but just take it to the next level. What does that look like? What does it look like to be more disciplined? If you try something out and it doesn't work, then change it. Nonetheless, you got to take this to the next level to be present in your body and chill out the intentions to be somewhere else. It's a really big deal for you. Oh. Ryan. It's like your memories are slapping you. I might come back to that. Your intentions, you got a lot of intentions, man. If anything, this is like the most boring reading I've ever given you. Focus on 3. You've got so many intentions going, and they're good, they're beautiful, they're mostly pretty pure. But focus on 3. Like elevate things. Like think in terms of practicality. I think it's time for you to be more practical because this is what you're not as good at. It's like you've been focusing on your strengths and you've been avoiding your weaknesses, but discipline and practicality are a bit of your weaknesses and you need them. You need them. Part of the slap from the past is you've been loath to let go. Like there's still a party that wants to win old games. And I'd encourage you to lose them and leave. You're not losing anything you really want. It's that simple. And by the way, no, it's not all your fault. No, it's not. It's never all your fault. It's never anybody's fault. A fault is a gap between 2 people. Okay. So you can just recognize when you're being blamed in reality or in person or in your memory. It's more important for you in your memory. Like you were blamed for shit when you were young and it was always wrong. And you can go back there and rewrite it. It's like you're getting slapped. Like someone blamed you for their failures and slapped you. And it's like, look, to any extent you were involved, it was a fault. It was a gap between you, but it wasn't all yours. It's always shared. It's enough. There's the love. And that's in your heart. I told you this last time, I'll double down on it. You need that heart-mind coherence meditation. You need it a lot. You've got a strong core to it, but it needs depth. It needs enriching. And if you make 3 clear intentions and focus a lot on your heart will help you reinterpret your intentions in a way that fits and goes deeper, gains depth. Trust that. You don't need to know everything ahead of time. You don't need to plan it all ahead of time. You just need to ask, what does this flower need to nurture himself? What nutrients do you need? Nutrients look like spiritual practice, like healthy diet, like what? Get some clear intentions, build them as healthy habits this year. Be disciplined even when it's annoying. Give discipline at least 3 weeks. That's enough. Sarah Sahara. Okay, so you really did lose to someone. And it really wasn't good for you. And you were taught to believe in an idea of yourself that wasn't really you. And you took responsibility for it, but it wasn't yours. And you need to breathe through it. You need to dissolve it. It's like someone handed you a zombie skin and told you to feed it. And as long as you feed it some strength, it kind of inflates, but it's not yours. You need to stop feeding it and then say no to it in your memory. He's gone, he's here, he's gone, he's here. So you're still being affected by this, and it's ruining other things you try to do. You don't need to resent, you don't need to hate, you just need to see it clearly. It's not yours. So you do this with whoever it is. You do this. Live a good life. I pray for you. Deal with your shit. What's yours, Sarah? What's yours? Look at that. Well, yes, it does. You do have to do some work, but this is not awful. What gets uncovered is not at all awful. There's some heaviness there. There's some heaviness there. There's a grief that's pretty severe, actually. But it's not, there's no knot to it. It's just what you got to do. This is in your heart. There's like a rock. It's heavy. It hurts. Now, in your intentions, it's like you've been trying to reinvigorate this when really you need to let it dissolve. It's like the tree. You cut off a tree and it could regrow. It's true, but you don't want it to. You need it to compost. So I'm actually going to do this with you now, all right? I see a heaviness in your heart. I invite you to breathe into it, and I invite everyone else to witness this because it's heavy. And we circle around it and we imagine this heaviness. Is there anything in this that you need to retain? Yes, there is. So there's something underneath all this that you need, that's yours. It's like, yep, there it is. There's a purity at the center of this. So I'm imagining this. It feels like a rock. See it as a rotting log and see it falling down. And it's revealing something really beautiful. It's yours. This is yours. This is you. It's yours. It's not somebody else's. It's yours. It's like uncovering a beautiful city covered in desert. Let this rock just break apart, turn into wood, and then just go down. All right. You're giving this back to the earth. It's going to be new soil. It's not terrifying. It's not evil. It's not disgusting. It is disgusting. It is evil. It is terrifying. Let it go. It's both. It's all. Let it go. Ah, there you go. Whoa. There you go. That's your heart. Stop trying to get rid of it. That's awesome. You might have to do that a couple more times, but actually not a lot. That's really, there you are. That's raw. If you're feeling what I think you're feeling, try to avoid people today. No joke. Try to avoid people. Just do things that take care of yourself. Don't put pressure on yourself. Only do the things you have to do if you have to do some stuff. But try to, like, because this is like intense and a bit raw. Heart mind coherence meditation. It's really important. A lot of people use it. You're tapping into a beautiful, loving field. There's other presence. And you need to kind of build some strength around your heart, because your heart's used to having this shell, this like rock around it. So it's going to feel very vulnerable to get in touch with. And so no sugar. You could drink a lot of it for a while, but definitely this week matters. Orange juice is fine. Yeah. Coconut's good. Yeah. Orange is fine. Apple's great. Even some apple cider would work on Friday, maybe. Okay, intentions. You start to focus in on an intention that's really good for you, and you're keeping it vague because you're afraid it'll be sabotaged. This is core. It's going to take you a while to focus this, but you are sabotaging your own intention because you're so used to your intentions not coming through thoroughly. So it's up to you. You got to make this clear. Sometimes the earth changes our intentions. That's different than our intentions getting sabotaged through doubt. You need to work with this, but I assure you, I see the presence of a clear, healthy intention. So you're working with the right seed. Don't doubt that. What does it need to grow into a healthier flower? That's a question. You can take all winter to answer that question. That's enough. Winter. Think till the equinox, all right? If you're willing to share the seed of your intention in the weekly witness, I think it would help, but only when you're ready. You can do it next week too. Gene. Well, it looks to me like you were in love with someone who you lost, and you really want to know who she was. And you don't need to know. You don't need to. It's like you were so willing to sacrifice yourself. You were trying really hard to sing her song, but you couldn't quite get it. And it's like, no, really, the problem was you were getting stretched too far away from you. So yeah, she's beautiful, but this is not what you need. And it's almost like you're trying to go back there to figure out what was wrong, so you can say, no, so stop going back. Really. And don't imagine it either. Really. That's in the way. That's a burden. That's messing with you. Okay, now your shoulders. Oh my God, dude. What? You're carrying a burden on your shoulders that's like a yoke. How could I not have seen this before? Yeah, dude, what's up? Like, this is like a yoke, and I'm just seeing it break. And I'm inviting everyone to add to this. We only do this when it's necessary. Imagine a circle of us around you, Gene, and like you have a yoke on you with chains coming down. It's like, this is not your burden to bear. I'm imagining the yoke breaking sort of gently and just falling to the sides. Don't let it fall on your toes. And it just breaks apart. So you've been trying to break the chains because it seemed harder to break the yoke. The chains are stronger than the yoke. Break the yoke. Let the metaphor work. There's something over your shoulders like this. Let it break here. You've been hacking at the chain. Let it break here. And then the chains, they can stay intact. They will have no hold over you. Oh my God, dude. And don't be angry about it. Don't. That just is a trap. Just be like, dude, you'd want to live in a different zone. You're moving into a new country. You're moving into a new spiritual land that those people can't even see, dude. Like, they can't chase you. They can't get here. Stay. Stay. I'm inviting you to stay. Don't go back. You don't need to fight. Don't resent them. Don't. And now, with this absent intentions, yes, you can love again. You can love better. It's a different kind of love. We all love in different ways throughout the course of our life. Stop looking for someone who can compete with that. There's something better that's different. It might look boring to you at first. It's not. Pray for what you really need. She's with you already? In some form, she's with you. But you're not with it fully? Well, whether she's with you in body or with you in spirit, trust that it's time to learn a new way to love. And to really trust it. Let yourself be present with it so you can see the depth of it, so you can appreciate the impact of it. Let go of it. You don't need sirens, dude. No sirens. Say no to sirens. Gene needs help saying no to sirens. Bless you. The only thing you need to do when you hear a siren is pray for the people that those ambulances and police cars are going to help. That's it. Let those who have ears hear. You got this, dude. It's not boring. It's dramatically, transcendently more interesting, but it's a different direction than you've anticipated. You're kind of backing into it. There you go. There's your color. Liking it. There's your wings. Ah, yes. That's it. That's it. Go slow. Go slow. Just a month. Slow it down. Slow it down. Slow it down. A month. Don't try to fly yet. Just feel those wings. You can feel them now. That's really cool, man. That's really cool. Let your wings get used to the air is what I would say. It's almost like the yolk was sort of part of a cocoon. That's really, really cool, Gene. No wonder you need some protection. Like, it's like a butterfly that just stepped out of a cocoon, man. Take it slow. All the way to Bridget's Day. Groundhog Day, Bridget's Day. Like, take it slow. Just feel this. Just feel your back. Feel your back opening. Feel safe in your back. That's it. Watch the moon. Pay attention to the moon cycle. Know where the moon is. Go say hi to the moon, even if it's just for a minute or two. You need it. You've been in love with the moon? Learn about the moon. Be in love with this life here. Let the moon inform it. You'll get both. Yes, yes. Desiree, what do I need to do to be aligned to my question? Wait, what's the question? Desiree, I'm just looking at the last thing, guys. So Desiree, but I don't see another question. So, well, I can do it like that, like presuming I don't know the question, but you know the question. I love you, Gene. You need to hear that. What's wow upside down? Mom, Mama Gaia. Okay. So this is a great question. The solar plexus is a good place to hold questions. So first thing you do is you have a question. Imagine that you're holding it in your hand. Imagine that it has energy like a ball. And then imagine you're putting it into your solar plexus and you're planting it like a seed. And then you're looking for 3, this is like a basic pattern that I'm encouraging you to try. And I'm only going to finish it. Come back if it doesn't work. All right. Because let me help you hone it, because it's a little different for everybody. But a basic good way to begin is you imagine your question, you put it in your solar plexus, and then you give yourself a week and ask for 3 confirmed responses. So you want a response that reinforces itself. The truth is not fleeting. It has a depth that you won't confuse with just your ideas that get in the way. But the reason we often don't hear the truth is because we can't tell the difference. We've lost our spiritual depth perception. So when that occurs, you can't tell the difference between your intuition and your thoughts, and it's also jumbled. It's not helpful to look at all. What you want to do is have a little more faith, just a little, with us. Just in this moment, it's all it takes. A little more faith. Yes, tomorrow you'll be like, I don't know if it works. Yeah, that gets in the way. But you're looking for 3 signs that you can hear that will reach you in a way that you can understand. And give it a week. And next week, tell us how it worked. Because this does work. You will get 3 signs, and I assure you, they have a little more resonance. They have a little more depth. You don't know how to see that depth yet, but you're learning. So just look for any sign that this is slightly more than a thought. And sometimes it's things in the world. Sometimes a bird lands by your window, and you can look up the bird on Spirit Speaks. Spirit Speak. Do the name of an animal in Spirit Speak on Google, and you'll get a description of what it means. Things that the world gives you like that can help answer your questions if you learn to recognize them through symbolic sight. So this week, that's your job. Desiree. Ask your question and be open to 3 different answers and just see if you even catch one of them, and then come back and tell us. And no, he's not there. You're projecting something on someone, and it's not real. It's yours. It's yours. Meaning it's your beauty. Don't externalize it. I'm sorry if that's overstepping, but. Okay. Haldi. When your eyes get tired, when your eyes get tired, when you lose your gut, when you lose your heart, like, just make a practice of tuning in much more on what you're feeling here, and make that chakra work, man. Like, your chakras are talking to you and help you navigate through what does and doesn't matter. And it's weird. Like, it could be time to watch something that you used to love when you were 18. That might be the right thing to do spiritually. It's not so much like you're always elevating beyond shit. Maybe you are, but don't think it. What is it? Yep, you've been resisting it too much. You've been resisting it too much. And then you've been giving in too much. So resist less, but then don't give in as much. I hope that makes sense. And chill out on yourself. Like, be a little less rigid in your rules, because otherwise they collapse. So be more like a tree, bend in the wind. Bend, but stay rooted. Be more like a flower, bend in the wind, but stay rooted. Sam. Oh, Sam. Yeah, I negated that in my reading for you. I saw it at first, and then I'm like, no, you don't need to. I'm sorry I wasn't clear. I was letting it flow, but you don't need to. It'll work itself out. And we'll talk about that more. Sam proposed an idea to me, guys, that I'm open to. Like, he's paying me a smaller amount of money, and I'm doing a reading on Vali, and then we could talk a little, so he can reply to me and ask questions. And I didn't get back to it yet, so I'm sorry, Sam, but it's something other people can do if you're interested in exploring the option. But I'm not going to press for it, because I couldn't do it with a ton of you. Probably no more than a dozen would work particularly well. So if you're interested, let me know. All right. Is that it? Ah, better. I love it. You guys are wonderful. Everything's going to be more like the service part. Less vivid. If I have teaching stuff, I'm going to record it. I'm going to try to edit it to be more focused. If we needed another time, I'm open to considering it. What is it? So, Thoth just let me know that this is what he wants me to be doing. So this is for me now, guys. But I've been working on this for so long. I've been working on these systems for so long that I have this like enormous backlog of information. The past 3 years of videos have been me trying to get out all of this stuff. And underlying it all, part of me is like seeing into a future. It's really beautiful. It's really beautiful how this is working and working with you guys. And I always look forward to this time with a sense of fear that like to other people, like I'm going to be accused of all sorts of terrible things. Like this is a cult. Uh, the level in which people can be inspired by this kind of energy and work. Oh yeah, he says he talks to angels. Like I didn't grow up surrounded by a lot of people who believe such things. I grew up surrounded by skeptical academics who accuse people who do this stuff of being a manipulative piece of shit. So I've been really afraid to be more full and open with this calling. And it's sort of time for that to crack away and just to trust, you know. I most absolutely don't want to press people into signing up for the most expensive options. I don't want to guilt trip you into giving me more money. I don't want to fuck any of you. No offense. I'm not that. And I need to trust that that will keep shining through. That whatever criticism I receive, like, don't give the most attention to the people with the least information about me. Like, I can do these, but I can only do it with your help. So thank you. Thank you for thank you for being you. You guys make me make it possible for me to be who I am and who I want to be. And it's just wonderful to share this time with you. I'll see you. I'll see you on Volley. Let's talk a little bit more about any themes that come up here. Find different ways to let the conversations thrive. Touch in with anyone you believe could be invited who would fit, and let me know. Let us all know what your intentions are for the new year. The weekly witness question. Share 3 intentions about who you want to be, what you want to do, what you're praying to become. I love you all. Bless you and your families.